A pleasure to meet y'all at last. Welcome back to Survival of No Limits, and here we are basically with our 4th day here in the series itself, based on this location. I still have 3 more to go after this. But now's the time where I actually talk a little something different around here, known as the most disgusting jobs in the world. And let me tell you, there are certainly tons of people out there who have talked about this exact topic. So this is yet another disclaimer here that this may be, in fact, a disservice, unless you really are, in fact, a fan of my content in comparison to theirs. Then sure, you can indeed watch these without getting the conclusion that I may in fact be copying them, because I don't. Well, anyways, the most disgusting jobs on the planet. It's a bit debatable whether or not your job entirely is fitted on being disgusting, or it is in fact being average, familiar with most people like myself. Because I feel like that I have seen everything by now. When it comes to the most disgusting jobs on the planet, there are indeed lots to choose from. Of course, there were a lot of cases that did in fact involve some very harsh treatment. Throughout history, there have been tons of cases involving lots of people having to be slaves, working for true leaders or higher beings that just so happen to have the requirement of having extreme cooldown or otherwise, especially when you're getting to work in certain places like the Middle East. There have been times, centuries ago, where most slave workers happen to utilize fans, constantly following their leaders around to ensure that they never get too hot by any means. And of course, this is something that had to be done on a near 24/7 basis. Most of the time, whenever they don't do the way they're supposed to, then they can indeed be subject to punishment by their rulers. As harsh of treatment as that is, there's really a lot of disgusting jobs out there in the whole entire world. The medieval times, of course, were quite a time where not only knights, dragons, noble steeds, princesses, and large high castles were around, but it was also a time where plumbing was not necessarily around, or at least developed in such a sanitary and safe way. So instead, the usage of outhouses, latrines, basically the combination to today's porta potties, are certainly quite common back then. And a lot of people who had to go and use latrines oftentimes had to find a way to get rid of all that waste that was just simply lying in certain areas, including ditches and crevices and gulches. But for the most part, it was the simple process of having to use shovels and buckets to get rid of all the excess waste. Sometimes this could be used as fertilizer, other times it would have to be burned as a way to get rid of the awful smell. But when it comes to the more modern-esque times resulting from extreme disgusting jobs, there are certainly a lot of things out there, like having to clean out ginormous septic tanks. And there are videos about this that you can see, especially in one case, where someone gets into a diving suit and a gas mask and then simply climbs down to the bottom of the septic tank to basically scrub every single portion of it and to have it emptied out, pretty much. Also, to go down there and fix up occasional clogs that might take place, because certain waste is not always guaranteed to be disposed of easily. And then of course there are the cases where sewage tunnels and the like are also being cleaned up and prepped, just so the public can continue the usage of their typical toilets and showers and the like that are still being used to this day. Lots of times most people are not willing to put their lives out like this, but that is certainly the case where lots of times we don't necessarily have too much of a choice in the matter. Either we help the public or we become the public. The public, of course, that still results in the usage of toilets, as well as tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of paper, soap, and otherwise. Lots of these things have certainly not really been the best in terms of our environment. But what are we going to do about it? I guess not much. The way I see things as they are, though, it's not really easy to come by. But you can at least be sure that someday we can all find ourselves a much better way to get out of these extremely gross things out there. Of course, I myself have seen everything by now, and I've already done tons of things that were considered disgusting, but that's really a good way to show that you are brave, willing, and able to do such things out there that most people would rather stay away from at all costs. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it for today. But if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.